Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the Washington football team being interested in trading for Patriots wide receiver N'Keal Harry. We're also going to be talking about the possibility of Ryan Kerrigan returning to the Washington football team for one more season. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so first let's read John Kahn's report, and this was reported a little bit earlier today, and he said Washington's quest to add more offensive talent could include New England wide receiver N'Keal Harry. The team is monitoring his situation according to multiple sources. The 6'4" Harry, a first-round pick in 2019, hasn't produced and could be traded. Washington football team GM Martin Mayhew was in San Francisco when the 49ers showed interest in Harry before the 2019 draft. At least 3 other teams could be interested, and one source said it's hard to imagine New England settling for anything less than a 4th rounder. So that's the key at the end. N'Keal Harry, obviously, as you guys know, drafted in the 1st round by the Patriots a couple years ago and just really hasn't had a great start to his career. You know, the first year really struggled with injuries, and when he was on, the field really wasn't producing really well. Had in 7 games had about 100 yards and 2 TDs. This year in 14 games with Cam Newton. Keep that in mind. I know Cam Newton, some people think he's still got it and some people don't, but he wasn't really the best deep ball thrower. He had 33 catches, 309 yards with Cam Newton and 2 touchdowns. And also the Patriots didn't throw the ball much. They ran the ball a bunch, but still has not had a great career thus far. I mean, 1st round pick and you have 400 total yards in 2 years. That is definitely not enough. And they're asking for a 4th round pick. Who knows what it could end up being? The thing that makes it likely, in my opinion, that they move on from him is that they've been doing it the last couple of weeks. I mean, Devin Asiasi, they drafted him in like the 3rd round last year, and they drafted another tight end last year as well, and they still signed Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry after 1 year of drafting 2 tight ends relatively early, and I think even the year before they drafted a tight end as well. So I think they're likely moving on from him. What I would personally give up for N'Keal Harry, it's tough to say. A 4th round pick is a little bit too rich for me. I like the potential though, so I think I would be willing to give up a 5th round pick for N'Keal Harry. A 4th is a little bit too much, but if they really like him, I would be okay with giving that up for him. He's about 6'4", 225 pounds. He is a really good red zone threat, or at least was in college. Caught a lot of fade balls in the end zone, and had a really, really good collegiate career, and he hasn't been able to translate that to the NFL. We'll see. Maybe a change of a new environment could help him out, because the Patriots really have struggled to develop receivers that they draft, and maybe, like I said, a change of scenery could help him out, and he really wasn't in the best situation this year in New England. Their scheme, the quarterback situation just wasn't the best situation for him to be in, but still, his production hasn't been great, and his skill set is a little bit similar to like AGG, who is a good, contested catch guy, deep ball, or in the end zone. AGG was able to do that in college, and that's kind of what N'Keal Harry can do. And Kelvin Harmon is somewhat similar, a little bit of a contested catch guy. So if you bring N'Keal Harry in, it kind of brings, the future of AGG and Kelvin Harmon a little bit in question. You would think both of those guys are going to make the roster next year. But if they draft someone like N'Keal Harry, then I think they're still likely to make the roster. But you have to think they already have, obviously, Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel under contract, and Cam Sims. Those 3 guys likely going to make it just because of their contracts. So you got 3 there that are locks to make it. If you bring in N'Keal Harry, that's 4. He's obviously going to make it if you give up a 4th round or 5th round pick for him. So that puts you at 4 receivers and then you have Kelvin Harmon and AGG, which puts you at 6. 6 is what usually they carry. I think that's what they carried last year. It's really rare for teams to carry 7 receivers. So if they're thinking about drafting a receiver, which likely is going to happen, that puts them at 7. So it might put someone like Kelvin Harmon or AGG on the outside looking in, and I personally want to see what they can do. So N'Keal Harry, I probably would give up a 5th round pick for him. He still has a lot of potential. Was a 1st round pick a couple years ago, and if he can be a solid wide receiver 3, maybe even a wide receiver 2 on the outside, because Samuel's just going to be an absolute weapon. He's going to be a slot guy. He's going to be an outside guy. He's going to be taking jet sweeps. But if N'Keal Harry could be on the outside, I think it would be okay. But again, not really willing to give up much for him just because of the combination of his production and his skill set. So that's just me. And then now under Ryan Kerrigan. So Ian Rappaport tweeted this out today. He said, Washington football team Pro Bowl defensive end Ryan Kerrigan will take a free agent visit to the Bengals today. Another potential addition to Cincinnati's revamped defense. Washington football team also has interest in having Kerrigan, the team's all-time sack leader, return. So, we'll see what happens with the Bengals. I don't know. If he goes there, that's fine for me. But I personally want to bring him back. His market isn't really strong right now. So if you could bring him back for relatively cheap, having him behind Chase Young and Montez Sweat in the rotation is going to be really, really good, because right now we really don't have someone that we really, or at least is proven, that can come off the edge besides Montez Sweat and Chase Young. So if one of those guys gets injured, or if they need to rest for a few plays, you want someone that can come in and rush the quarterback, and Kerrigan can still do that really well, especially his bull rush. So I would bring him back for relatively cheap, let him come back here, and maybe he can get to that 100 career sacks with the Washington football team. It's not a must, but it would be, a good thing just because he can be here for another year of his career, and also it's still a position in need, at least depth-wise, on the outside. We do have James Smith-Williams, who's kind of in the middle between an interior guy and an outside guy, and then you have someone like Casey Toohill. But I think they're going to bring in another guy, and that guy could be Ryan Kerrigan if they can get him for relatively cheap, and if he's fine not being a starter. And it looks like his market, there isn't really a lot of teams looking at him as a starter at this point. So if you can bring him in, I think he can be a very quality guy in your rotation. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think about these two news topics about N'Keal Harry, what you would be willing to give up for him, and if you would be willing to give up anything at all for him. And also let me know about the Ryan Kerrigan news. Do you guys want him back? And I think I know the answer to that, but let me know as well. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on the post notifications so you never miss a video. And peace, guys.